I'm back. Rhodes rants on. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino's 9th film. Okay, so I will try to do a spoiler-free review, even though I do not really believe in such reviews. What I will tell you is, this movie is a cinematic masterpiece. Number one, if you're worried about any sort of like political narratives or anything like that in this movie could not be less woke in the current state of Hollywood. Okay, and it follows essentially two pals. One of them is a struggling, formerly famous, now struggling actor who still sort of has a name, Leo DiCaprio. He plays Rick Dalton, and his stuntman, Brad Pitt. His name is Cliff. They really and truly have about split equal time. What I will tell you is both actors should be up for an Oscar when we come around. And I'm going to be very interested to see what Hollywood does with this movie, considering the current climate of Hollywood. Leo DiCaprio's character is a little bit reminiscent of what you would say the very early days of Clint Eastwood was, where he sort of went through the transition from TV to spaghetti westerns back over into American movies. Brad Pitt's just along for the ride, essentially, from a career standpoint. Now, there's a scene where Bruce Lee's in the movie. I'm not going to ruin that for you. It's not that long, but it's impactful, and you realize in this moment how big of a badass Brad Pitt's character is in this movie. Tarantino doesn't normally out and out create a character where you feel like he could just outright be the hero. You kind of had the sense that Brad Pitt might be the hero in this movie, okay? And what people will say about this movie is they will probably say it is slow. There's a lot of really intricate cinematography moments in this movie. There's a scene where Brad Pitt is pulling up to a drive-in theater. He lives in a beaten-up trailer on the lot, and the camera pans beautifully over the top of this drive-in theater, and you see the light from the screen. It's these kind of moments, along with another, stunning, award-winning kind of backdrop soundtrack that Tarantino's known for using in his movies. Neil Diamond has a song in this movie. And then somewhere around the 1 hour mark, there is a total tonal shift in this movie. It's like a light switch. And you're like, man, this is a different kind of movie. This is sort of like a drama / comedy. And you're like, I'm not sure what kind of Tarantino movie I'm watching here. And then that switch gets flipped. And you're like, oh. You're thinking, oh, all of a sudden, there's an intensity. And you'll know what scene I'm talking about, where Brad Pitt drives out in the country and there's just a switch. All of a sudden, the intensity of the movie turns the volume up on a 12. And you're like, oh, this may not be a great situation. And you feel the movie turn right there. And it's beautiful. And you know something's going to happen eventually in regards to this moment later in the movie. And then the last 20 minutes comes, and it is jaw-dropping, flooring, utter chaos. Not unlike maybe the last, I think it lasted a little longer in The Hateful Eight, but it's utter chaos. And I'm not going to ruin the movie for you. If you like Quentin Tarantino movies, you're going to appreciate this movie. There's going to be people that are going to believe the movie is too slow. Quentin loves to take the exaggerated character development. He wants you invested in these characters as you get closer and closer to the last half of the third act. Because in the last 20 minutes, all of a sudden, these two fellas that you're really invested in now, extremely likable characters, okay? They are the epitome of toxic masculinity. They never lose that in what becomes a beautiful, climaxing 20 minutes of pure, raging insane cinematic history. I think this movie should win Best Picture, but, you know, I've noticed some of the critics have kind of been knocking this movie. My guess is it's because they don't like the tone, because Brad Pitt pulls no punches, no pun intended, towards man or woman in this movie. If they seek to cause him harm, no mercy. It's beautiful. It's almost two separate movies put together. It is the movie of a friendship between two buddies that leads us in to this insane last 20 minutes. I mean, once I realized what was happening, and once I realized Quentin was going to follow through with the payoff for the audience for these characters, I was stuck somewhere between wanting to stand up in my seat, cheer, cry from happiness. It's so unlike anything that we get to see in movies these days. It is an achievement. I've made no bones. I love Quentin's movies. This movie is no different. I will tell you, I would have said this was maybe my least enjoyable Quentin Tarantino movie in my ranks until the last 20 minutes happened. And now I have to figure out where to rank it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give this movie a 9.8. There might have been 2 spots for 4 minutes apiece, nitpicking, pacing issue, something like that. Go see it. Enjoy it. Love it. Movies like this do not come around. We're lucky to get a movie like this once every 3 or 4 years, maybe. Especially the last 20 minutes of this film. There is a moment in this film involving Leonardo DiCaprio where you are going to want to cheer out loud when you realize what's happening. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.